Grizzlies kill the Spurs. Or at least it felt like we got killed. We didn't get killed too bad, but we definitely got killed in the second half there. Welcome in. Thanks for watching. Thanks for coming back if you've been here before. And if you haven't, then thanks for watching for the first time. I just want to recap the game real quick. If you watched the game, I'm sure you saw how it went already. We'll start with Zach Edey and Wembenyama, the Zach Edey matchup. If you'd watched the game, they'd started Zach Edey, obviously, probably scored a good 6 points or so in the first 5 minutes, 5 to 6 minutes of the game. He dunked on Wemby. It was really nasty. I can't even lie. It was two hands, and he just forced it down with one hand over Wemby, just kind of off of a post move drop step. So, got to give it to Edey on that. That was nasty. Um, he was giving Wemby some trouble early in the game, to be honest, or at least I thought he was. Wemby was having trouble scoring early in the game, but we'll get to Wemby soon. He was having trouble all game long, offensively at least. It seems like uh, Jaren Jackson was giving Wemby some trouble as well. He was getting some good post scores on him. He did shoot 24 field goal attempts, which is a lot of shots. He did hit a nice little step back three on Wemby in the third quarter, or it may have even been in the fourth quarter. And then he had some pretty good post scores on Wemby. It seemed like the Grizzlies' strategy was to just kind of post up Wemby every chance they get with Edey, Jaren Jackson, whoever it was, and even if they can't get the finish or get the points off of it, at least they put their shoulder into Wemby a couple of times, then try to take some energy out of him that way. But yeah, Jaren Jackson felt like he had a really good game after watching the game, but looking back here at the numbers, 8 for 24, 2 from 8 from 3, so he was pretty off shooting wise. But he did have the 19 points, the 6 rebounds, the 2 blocks. But yeah, watching the game, if you watch the game, it looked like he had a really good game just off the eye test. Kind of goes to show how the numbers don't always really equate to the impact there, because it looks like he had an off game shooting wise. Um, but he did have a good impact on the game. So yeah, Jaren Jackson, Zach Edey, John Morant's he's like exactly what we would need for a point guard. I know he's not on the market, but he plays the point guard position the way you should play it, which is crazy to say because thinking back, 3 or 4 years when Ja was younger, he was a great player still, but he would just use his athleticism a lot of the time. He was still a good passer, um, and a great player actually still with his athleticism. But now his basketball IQ is just so much higher. It seems like he's always making the right play. It seems like he's in the paint whenever he wants to be. If he's running the fast break, he's just faster than everybody and makes the right reads, kicking out for corner threes, just lobbing to his guys. Um, yeah, again, I know he's not on the market, but Jaw's exactly what we'd love to have for a point guard. And again, he's really matured a lot, like I was saying, from when he was younger, um, on the court and off the court. He had a little bit of off the court troubles when he was a bit younger, but he's making good on and off the court decisions again now. But yeah, freaking job. 21 points, 12 assists, only 2 turnovers, 2 steals, plus 22. So he had the biggest plus minus out of everybody. No surprise there. 9 from 13 from the field, so he was barely missing anything. We got Desmond Bane as well, 8 for 13, 2 for 4 from 3. He's a very good defender as well, so he was always having an impact defensively. He pretty much does every game. Like I was saying, the 2 steals, the 1 block, 21 points. Man, Ja was just so impressive. Ja was really killing us. Oh, yeah, that's what I forgot to say. Getting back to Ja, um, Zach Edey had that early dunk on Wemby, and then towards the end of the fourth, Ja had a. It was gross. They're gonna be showing highlights of it. I'm sure it's frustrating though because it didn't even count. But he had a gross poster dunk on Wemby. He just went up and kind of Blake Griffin style. He He didn't really dunk it, but he just kind of threw it into the rim over Wemby. But Ja kind of blown by someone, and they reached in, and the foul was called. The play was whistled dead. So Ja went up, Wemby went up, straight, just with both of his arms up, and Wemby didn't think Ja was going to actually try to go up hard and try to dunk. So Wemby didn't go up and 100% try to block the shot. He just went up, two hands up, um, thinking the play was dead after he heard the whistle, and then Ja just goes ahead and freaking dunks the ball on him. But either way, if you just saw it without any context, it was a nasty dunk. Giving Ja credit there because it was gross, but again, it was frustrating because the dunk didn't even count. But I know we're going to be seeing a bunch of replays and highlight reels with that dunk on there. All right, but that's really their starting lineup. But Aldama as well, he had a big impact. 20 points off the bench, 9 for 15, 1 for 3. I never even heard of this guy to be honest, but he was having a big impact. Scottie Pippen Jr. He actually ripped the ball from Chris Paul earlier in the game. I'd never seen that in my life. Seeing Chris Paul get ripped, I'm sure he has been. That's exaggerating, but yeah. Then you had like a flop where Chris Paul kind of gave him a little shove and he flopped and fell down. But I'm not talking about the Grizzlies players. Get to the Spurs. Like I was saying, I thought Zach Edey was just doing a good job against Wemby to start the game because he had the 6 points and thought he was playing good defense on Wemby. But looking back, I guess give Zach Edey some credit. He did do a good job, but Wemby just had an all-around off game regardless. So it's not like Wemby can't score, on Zach Edey or have good production against him, but he was just going to have an off night. It seemed like either way there. But again, to give the Grizzlies credit, I feel like they played Edey first to get him in the post against Wemby, kind of have some physicality, drain Wemby's energy a bit. They were having Jaren Jackson attack Wemby a lot, put his shoulder into him to try to drain Wemby's energy pretty much all game long. And I guess it seemed like it worked out, obviously. But yeah, Wemby 5 for 19, 3 from 10 from 3. So definitely an off night shooting. 12 rebounds though, the 2 steals and the 8 blocks. So obviously it had a huge impact on the defensive end. Had the biggest impact. Excuse me. Had the biggest impact out of anyone on the defensive end. After the first half was over, Wemby maybe had 7 points, I think, at the end of the first half. But I was thinking to myself, man, Wemby just dominated the first half, and he did dominate. He had, I believe, 7 blocks by the time the first half was over. The way this first half had ended, Zach Edey was doing some clumsy stuff down low like he always does, and then he missed a shot and he got it back, and he tries to go up for like a little hook, and Wemby just blocks the crap out of him. Just it was gross. It was like a dad playing with his kid, even though Zach Edey's 7'3" or 7'4", however tall he is. Wemby just blocked the crap out of him. The bench is going crazy. I'm screaming at my TV. But after that, Wemby's performance kind of went downhill a bit, like I was saying. But going back to Zach Edey real quick too, just one quick point I forgot to make. He did have that hot start. He had the 6 points in the first 5 or 6 minutes, and I remember right after that happened, I was thinking he's not going to have a better game than Wemby though. By the time the game is all said and done, Wemby will have the better game, and he did. Of course, Zach Edey only had 17 minutes, so it's not really a fair comparison there, to be fair to Zach Edey. But Wemby had the better game, of course. You're going to go through all the numbers. But yeah, Wemby was just off offensively for whatever reason. We have the Grizzlies again on Friday, so I expect Wemby to be better. Of course, I expect him to want to redeem himself and definitely do so. Harrison Barnes, 4 for 7 from the field, 2 for 4 from 3. 10 points, just 1 turnover. Only 1 turnover for Victor as well. Harrison played solid. He pretty much plays solid every single night. He'll give you somewhere from 10 to 15, 20 points some nights. So, pretty much what we expected from Harrison. He's always solid. Chris Paul, 3 for 6 from the field, 1 for 4 from three, 5 assists, 4 turnovers, though. Like I said, he got ripped by Scottie Pippen Jr., which was crazy. I did not expect to see that happen. The 8 points, 5 assists. So a bit of an off night for Chris Paul as well. Or actually, definitely an off night for him with the 4 turnovers. That's not something you expect to see. His turnover to assist ratio is only +1 for his dimes. So yeah, you definitely expect to see better for Chris Paul, but our whole team was off, so you can't really blame one player. Devin Vassell, right after I say our whole team is off, he was like the one guy that wasn't, except for Stephon Castle. 7 for 13, 3 for 6 from three, 4 for 7 for the free throws. He had 21 points, 2 turnovers, 3 dimes, 5 rebounds, 2 steals. I'd say that's a great game from Vassell, to be honest. We were -17 for his plus minus, but plus minus is such a misleading stat in my opinion. But this is what we'd love to see from Vassell. Um, I could be mad at him even. Like, I want to see him take 15 plus shots every single game. He's 7 for 13. Be 7 for 15. Be 7 for 16. Vassell, we want to see you take 15, 16 plus. I never want to see him under 15 shots. Always more than that because he's such a great scorer. But like I was saying, I feel like this is a very good game for him, regardless of his plus minus. He had a very good game last game, and he's having, or rather, had another good game this game. We'd like to see it because he was having some inconsistent play. He had been in a cold streak. I heard some people talking crazy, talking about we should possibly put Vassell in a trade package, this and that. I said in a previous video, if we got to mid-February, late February, and he was still playing that way, then I would start to be worried. But I expect him to come out of his slump, and he's showing that he's starting to come out of his slump for sure. It was just his foot injury that he was coming back from, but he's starting to find his form again. Probably our best player tonight was Stephon Castle. Devin was probably our best player offensively. Castle had more points, but just efficiency-wise from Devin. But Steph Castle always has that impact defensively as well. He's just always a dog out there, clamping people up. He had no steals and no blocks, but if you watch the game, you see how tough he makes it for the opposing team's best guards. He was probably guarding Ja Morant a majority of the time. Ja had a great game. Of course, 9 for 13, 21 points, the 12 dimes. But they're setting a lot of screens. There's a lot of switching and things going on. If you watch the game, there was one shot Ja hit towards the end of the shot clock where Castle just all over him. He just shoots a fadeaway from the baseline and just swishes it. So, when you're playing against great players, they're going to make some great plays. There's nothing you can do about that. But yeah, Stephon Castle, probably the best. I think the last game was still the best game of his career. This is probably the second best in my opinion. But the 9 for 21 from the field, 2 for 9 from three. He had 6 free throws out of his 7, 26 points, only 1 turnover, 4 assists, 3 rebounds. What I'm loving about Castle, he's taking a lot of field goals. He's being very aggressive out there. Looking at this right now, I don't like to see him taking more field goals than Wemby. Doesn't make me super mad. They're about the same right now, but I'd like to see Wemby be more aggressive, I guess. It wasn't that he wasn't being aggressive this game, but he just looked kind of tired out there, to be honest. He seemed kind of lethargic. He seemed a little out of breath and stuff out there. I don't know if you noticed the same thing, but he just seemed a little worn out. He was shooting a lot of outside shots, so that's when you kind of know that he's tired, in my opinion. When he's shooting outside shots, you know that his legs are a little tired and he just doesn't feel like he has the energy to get inside. But with that being said, Castle took the 2 more shots than Wemby, but I love him being aggressive out there. I said in a previous video, some people don't like seeing Castle shoot the threes and shoot the outside shots and this and that. To be honest, whenever Castle pulls up for a 3 or a deep mid-range shot, I don't think it's going in either. I usually expect him to miss the shots. but it's just part of his development. We just have to let him shoot the shots. I'm sure the coaching staff is encouraging him and telling him anytime you feel like it's a good shot, just shoot it. Like, don't second guess yourself. Just shoot, shoot, shoot. And you're seeing him taking those shots, of course, and you're also seeing him get more and more comfortable and more aggressive in the offense. Something I noticed last game and this game as well. He'll kind of dribble. He'll take a pause when he's running a screen and roll with someone. He'll dribble. He'll take a pause as soon as his defender kind of hits the screen, and then within an instant he'll just read it. And if the switch is a little late or the guys kind of hesitate and they don't know what they're gonna do, he'll just attack the baseline and get an easy layup. He did it last game. He did it this game as well. I think he got an and one this game. But if you notice, yeah, like if they don't make the switch fast enough, he just attacks so quick. Like he reads it. His basketball mind's getting faster out there, and he's just being more and more aggressive. But love to see that from Stephon Castle. Keldon Johnson, 17 points, 6 for 12 from the field. He had a really good game as well. He was giving us a lot of energy off the bench, and it wasn't garbage time minutes or anything like that. Keldon was getting some big buckets, and he was keeping us in the game, and he kept us in the game for a large majority of it, to be honest. He came in at some big times and kind of halted some runs from the Grizzlies and just gave us some buckets and some energy when we needed it. But unfortunately, it just wasn't enough for tonight. But yeah, just an off game. I was gonna say all around from the team, but it wasn't really an off game all around. We'll just call it what it was. It was just a bad game from Wemby. I'm not gonna sit there and say, oh, it's all Wemby's fault that we lost. If we're gonna put the majority of the blame on anyone, it would go on Wemby and Chris Paul, to be honest. Just to be honest there, Chris Paul with the 4 turnovers, only the 5 assists, which is not really like him. You expect to see him closer to the 8, 9 assists, 10 assists, and 2 or less turnovers. And then Wemby, needless to say, just had one of his worst games of the season, which isn't an insult. It just shows how great he is. 5 for 19, so off from the field, bad field goal percentage shooting, needless to say. But he has the 12 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals, 8 blocks, and the 13 points. This is a career game for most players. Most centers, if they had a game where they had 13 points, 12 rebounds, and 8 blocks, 2 steals, they'd be saying, man, that's the best game I've ever had in my whole life. And for Wemby, that's an off game. So it just shows how great he is. Again, please comment below and let me know what you think. I think he just looked a little bit tired out there. He looked a little out of breath. But hopefully come Friday when we play them again, he'll be rested up a little more and be ready to go. I'm sure he won't be happy with his performance from this game. Everyone's numbers looked good out there. Yeah, I know I was saying it's mostly Wemby and Chris Paul's fault that we lost, but there were some things we could have done better as a team defensively. We did have a lot of breakdowns defensively as a team as well. And Wemby looked a little frustrated out there. I don't think just about his shooting performance, that's definitely part of it, but about a lot of the breakdowns we were having defensively, which is another reason we lost the game. But with that being said, please comment below. Let me know what you think. Hopefully we'll get things right for this Friday, and hopefully we can get back and get a win against the Grizzlies when we run it back on Friday. Please like and subscribe if you haven't below, and we look forward to seeing you guys again next time.